All right, so get ready for this deep dive. We're diving into hypnotism.
But not the typical fall asleep kind.
Right.
You send us all this stuff on hypnotism, and it's
Yeah.
about, like, how to bend minds, not bend spoons.
Yeah, it really is fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like the kind of hypnotism
The power of suggestion.
where you don't even realize you've been hypnotized
Yeah.
because you're wide awake walking around.
Exactly, even when we're fully aware.
Like, you could be walking around
Yeah.
buying a car from a guy
Yes.
with a dancing chicken and not even realize you've been hypnotized.
Yeah.
So how do they do that?
Well, I think most people think of hypnosis as this trance-like state,
Right.
where you're sort of out of it.
Eyes closed. Not really there.
Exactly, but
Yeah.
it's much more subtle than that.
Okay.
According to Dave Ellman,
Mm-hmm.
and even the Department of Labor, believe it or not, the core of hypnosis is really about bypassing the critical faculty, that inner voice of reason, and accepting what we call selective thinking.
So it's like you're scrolling online,
Yeah.
you're going through social media, and then bam,
Exactly.
there it is. The thing you needed but didn't even know
Yeah.
you needed.
Precisely, you're putting your finger on it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. It's not about being unconscious, but it's that moment where your brain takes a shortcut.
Okay.
It just accepts the suggestion
Yeah.
without really that kind of scrutiny.
Without that critical thinking.
Yes, and that's what we call waking hypnosis.
Waking hypnosis. Okay.
Yes.
So how does that actually work, though, in marketing? Like, what are these sneaky hypnotists, or should I say marketers,
Yeah.
doing to kind of make us
Yeah.
more susceptible to this?
Well, one very effective technique that they use is called pacing and leading.
Okay.
And this is something that Dr. David Snyder talks about in one of your YouTube videos, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And what it involves is establishing credibility first by saying things that are verifiably true.
Okay.
That's the pacing.
Right.
Then you slip in the suggestions, which is the leading.
Oh, okay. So you're easing people
Yeah.
into it. You're like, hey, this is how it is, but also this.
Yes, precisely.
You know what that reminds me of?
What did that?
That car salesman, you know the one I'm talking about with the dancing chicken
Yes.
in his commercials? I mean, it was so bizarre. How could you not watch it?
Right. It's so distracting.
But you're so busy laughing at this absurdity
Right.
that he's like slipping in the sales pitch when you don't even realize it.
Right. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
It's like you're disarmed, you know?
He's disarmed you. You're caught off guard.
Yeah.
You let your guard down.
Yeah, like what did I just watch?
Exactly.
And then you're ready to buy a car.
That's right. And in the meantime, he's planting these suggestions. It's very clever.
So how do we protect ourselves from these clever tactics? I mean, I don't want to be a
Right.
dancing chicken blindly following the next,
Right.
shiny object, you know?
Well, awareness is key.
Okay.
Now that you understand
Yeah.
techniques like pacing and leading, like you just said,
Mhm.
you're going to start to notice it everywhere.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You'd be like, wait a minute.
Right.
I've heard that before.
Yeah. It's like learning a magic trick.
Exactly.
Once you see how it's done, it's like
Right,
it's
that's-
not impressive anymore.
Right. You're exactly right. And it's like
Yeah.
you start to see those strings, right?
You see how the sausage is made.
Yeah, exactly. And then you start to look for those little tells.
All right.
Yeah, and then you can start to protect yourself.
Okay. But it can't just be dancing chickens, right? And
Right.
catchy jingles.
Right.
What about the less obvious stuff? The stuff that makes you wonder, like, wait a minute, do I even have free will?
Well, that's right. That's the nuances, I think,
Yeah.
of persuasion.
Right.
The things that kind of slip past our conscious radar.
Right.
You think about those ads that create a sense of urgency or fear of missing out.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They're not directly hypnotizing you, but they're tapping into, more primal instincts.
So that's like when you see that message and it's like, limited time offer?
Exactly.
Or
right.
only 2 left in stock.
Yeah, or everybody's
Oh.
rushing to get this thing. You're like, I don't want to miss out.
Wait a minute, I didn't even want this yesterday.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you still don't, but you don't want to miss out.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
Miley.
it's like that fear of missing a good deal is stronger than
Exactly.
my own logic.
Your logic and your needs.
it's-
Even it's
yeah.
like this auction fever
Right.
to takes over.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah, so we've got the in-your-face tactics. We've got the subtle emotional appeals. Are there any other ways that they're doing this to us?
Yeah. What else? How else are they?
How else are they?
Like hypnotizing us.
Well, one of the most powerful is creating a sense of need where none existed before.
Okay.
Like you think about those ads where they present a problem you didn't even know you had,
Right, right.
and then they conveniently offer their product as the perfect solution.
Oh, like those cleaning products?
Yes.
Where they make your house look like a biohazard?
Exactly.
You're like, my house isn't that dirty.
That's right. And you just cleaned and you're like,
Right.
oh my gosh, I've got to get that,
Yeah. I need that special cleaning agent.
That's right.
Even though, soap and water would probably do the trick.
Exactly. But they're creating this sense of inadequacy, this anxiety.
Right. That only their product can fix.
That only their product can fix. Exactly.
It's insidious.
It is. It's very clever.
It really is. It makes you...
But this has been going on for centuries, this
Right.
long before, these flashy commercials.
It was just the guy with a horse and buggy.
That's right. There were very skilled orators and salesmen
Yeah.
who could captivate an audience with their words alone. So how did they do it?
Right.
It's language, right?
Yeah.
It's the words that they choose. It's the tone of their voice. It's the way that they structure their sentences.
Oh, wow.
It can be incredibly persuasive, especially when it's used strategically.
Right.
You remember that dancing chicken?
Yeah.
I bet you that car salesman, he used equally compelling language when he had you in his office.
Right. To close the deal.
To close the deal, right?
Yes.
So he probably used some of that.
Oh, I bet you he did.
Yeah.
He probably said things like, picture this.
Exactly.
Or imagine this.
That's right.
And you're not just imagining it, you're starting to feel it.
That's right. You're starting to really believe and buy into that fantasy.
Right. And the line between, desire
That's
and,
exactly.
and what's real.
It starts to get very blurry.
Yeah, it gets very blurry very quickly.
And that's when it's really effective.
So how do we become more discerning consumers then, if our minds are so easily swayed when we're not even paying attention?
That's right. Well, I think it starts with, first of all, like we said, awareness.
Okay.
Right. Now that you're aware that these techniques are out there, your brain is already, it's going to pick up on these things.
It's like you're training your BS detector or something.
That's exactly what you're doing.
Okay.
You're training your BS detector. But I think awareness is just the first step. You also have to be willing to question these messages, right?
Question everything.
Don't be afraid to hit the pause button.
Right.
Step back from the situation and say, wait a minute, do I really need this?
Right.
Am I being swayed by emotion here or by logic?
Right. It's almost like you need to be a more mindful consumer.
Mindful consumerism. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that it's about being present. It's about questioning.
Yeah.
It's about making sure that this decision
Right.
aligns with your values.
So how do we actually apply that?
Right.
Because it's so overwhelming.
It is. It's a constant barrage of information coming at you.
It's true. So how do we do that?
Well, I think the more you practice it, the easier it becomes.
Okay.
And you start by paying attention to the language that's being used.
Okay.
Okay, are they using emotionally charged words?
Right.
Words that evoke fear or anxiety or excitement?
Right.
Are they using very vague language to make the product seem more appealing?
Oh, so it's almost like you have to be a detective almost.
Exactly. You have to read between the lines.
Look for these clues.
Exactly. And don't just focus on the words.
Okay.
Pay attention to the visuals, the music,
right,
the overall tone of the message.
Tone, okay.
Are they creating a sense of scarcity?
Right.
Or urgency?
Okay.
Social pressure. Are they appealing to your aspirations or your fears, your insecurities? These are all things to look for.
It's like a game almost.
It is a game.
To figure out what they're trying to do.
It is a game. And the more you play the game, the better you'll get at it.
But even the most discerning consumer is going to fall prey to some
of course,
marketing ploy.
Because we're human.
Right.
And we all have those buttons that can be pushed.
Right.
But that's where self-awareness comes in.
Okay.
You have to be aware of what those triggers are.
Okay.
What are your own personal vulnerabilities?
Okay, that makes sense.
And once you know what those are, you can be more resilient.
Be more aware.
Yes.
So it's like, your kryptonite.
Exactly.
You know what you're susceptible to. So you can be like...
You can try to avoid it or at least be aware.
Yeah, be aware.
Yeah, exactly.
The awareness is really the key to protecting yourself.
This has been really interesting, by the way. I feel like my eyes have been opened because it's amazing how much is going on that I'm not even aware of.
Yeah. There's a lot happening under the surface.
Yeah, and it can really
our awareness
influence my choices, my behavior.
Absolutely. It influences everything. And it's not just marketing.
Right.
These principles, suggestion, persuasion, this is everywhere.
It's in our relationship.
Everywhere. Politics.
Yeah. How we talk to our family.
Absolutely. Even ourselves.
Ourselves, right.
Yes.
Like our own internal dialogue.
That's right.
It could be a form of hypnotism almost.
Absolutely. We're constantly sending ourselves messages, both good and bad.
Yeah. So if we really want to change our lives, we need to pay attention to what we're telling ourselves.
Absolutely. You become aware of those negative beliefs, those I'm not good enough,
Yeah.
I'll never be able to.
And then you start to believe it.
You start to believe it, and then it becomes your reality.
It's like we're hypnotizing ourselves, almost.
Well, we are. You're exactly right.
Wow.
We have that power.
It's like our subconscious is...
Yeah. This fertile ground,
It is.
and we can plant whatever we want there.
That's a great way to put it. That's a great analogy.
And whatever we plant is gonna grow.
It's going to grow.
Yeah. So if we're planting these negative thoughts, it's like
Right.
you're just
Nurturing those.
taking more negativity into our lives.
That's right. And the same goes for positive.
Oh, that's a good point. So it works both ways.
There's both ways, yeah.
So we can use this for good, right?
Absolutely. And this is really important. And it gets back to intention, right?
Okay.
These techniques, when they're used ethically, responsibly, they can be really powerful tools for good.
So instead of tricking people into buying a car with a dancing chicken,
Right.
you can use these techniques to inspire people, to motivate people.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
You think about motivational speakers, therapists,
Yeah.
teachers.
Yeah.
They all use these techniques. They use language, they use storytelling
To help people.
to connect with people on an emotional level, to inspire them, to help them see the world in a different way and themselves.
So it's like we're planting those seeds of possibility
Exactly.
instead of fear.
That's it. That's a great way to put it.
This is amazing.
Yeah, it's all about intention.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, we've been on this crazy journey.
We have. We've gone from dancing chickens to the power of the subconscious.
I know, right?
It's all connected. It really is fascinating, the power of the mind.
It sounds like the real takeaway here is just be aware.
Be aware.
Be aware of how these things are influencing you.
Be aware of your own triggers, your own...
Right, what am I
What's
susceptible to? What do I...
What makes you tick.
Yeah, and then also, how can I use this,
That's right.
to better myself and to better the world?
It's about becoming a conscious creator of your life.
Be a conscious creator.
Rather than just a passive recipient of all these messages that are coming at you.
That's really good. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good place to wrap up. It's deep dive.
Yes. This has been a lot of fun. I enjoyed this.
Yes, me too. And to the listener out there, we hope you enjoyed it too. And we hope it's inspired you to maybe take a closer look
Absolutely.
at the world around you.
Yes.
And the world within you.
Yes. Beautifully said. Take that with you.